So I've been thinking, is the Fortnite storyline coming back? Like, is it actually coming back this time? And not like chapter 5 with the gods and Jones and Hope, even though we have been getting Jones and Hope related stuff recently. I am a fan of it, you know. Charlie Wing is doing a pretty good job with the storyline, in my opinion, but come on, like, there is no comparing him to Donald Mustard in terms of just Fortnite storyline. Like, just what Donald Mustard was cooking up back then was amazing. What I loved so much about the older storyline for Fortnite was the simplicity in it, the build up, and just the vibes. Like, had some pretty monumental vibes. And, you know, it's like every season there was something big to look forward to, whether it was the rocket event or in season 5, Kevin the Cube, you know, the lightning strikes hitting the island. Season 6 was the floating island and what was going to happen with that. Boom, the butterfly event. One thing led to the other, and it was pretty consistent for the most part. It even had game-changing effects. And then we move on to chapter 2, and I still think Donald Mustard was cooking. Everything with the IO and the 7 and Dr. Sloan was really a nice treat. Unfortunately, that all had to end in chapter 3 when Donald Mustard was taking his lead. So where are we at now in terms of the storyline? Well, it's a little complicated in my opinion. I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to this type of stuff, so, you know, if anyone in the comments section would like to let me know on what's going on or explain the story from there, I'd be happy to take a look at it to inform myself of what exactly is happening. But based off of what I kind of know and heard, there is the whole thing that's happening with Daigo and the spirit realm. And Daigo came from chapter 6 season 1. From what I've known, he used to be a good guy, the brother of Jade, but is now turned evil, I guess from being in the spirit realm, or, you know, the mass consuming him, I want to say. And I guess that's what kind of sparked this whole thing with the map on, you know, all these drastic map changes ever since the Death Star blew up and a fragment of it landed on the spirit realm portal. But what confuses me is that chapter 6 season 1 had, you know, a theme with demons and ninja and samurai, but once we moved on to season 2, then it turned into crime fighting and running from the law, Midas, Fletcher Kane, all of that. And then it moved to Star Wars, and now we're here where there's Fortnite characters running around with superpowers thanks to Superman saving them from a falling battle bus. It's complicated, it confuses me, and I want to understand it, but I just feel like it should be a bit easier for casuals to understand, like how chapter 1 and chapter 2 was. However, I think that there is some evidence to point us into a direction of a somewhat coherent storyline happening. Of course, everything with the spirit realm and Daigo has been going on since chapter 6 season 1 and is now building and building up to something. What is that something? I'm not entirely sure, but again, you guys can let me know what that something might be. There's been a couple of theories as to why things have been happening on the map, like what happened with the crime season and why we randomly got a new biome, and all of this come out of nowhere. The whole superhero academy going on right now and why Midas might actually be funding it. And there is also some theories as to how we'll get to the next season, which I don't want to speak too much about because those are major spoilers. But it does kind of seem like there is something that Fortnite is planning in the background. On top of that, I have to bring up the OG mode. From seasons 1 to 3, there was really no storyline happening. That was the case for both OG Fortnite and the OG Seasons mode that we have now. But what's always been weird about the mode is that we've gotten these remixed skins. They're not the exact same skins from the older battle passes for obvious reasons, but they're not like entirely new characters. It's almost like these guys are from a different reality, or maybe from a different time. Something to do with time travel? We did use a time machine back in chapter 4 season 4 and Fortnite OG, so that could play a role into the OG mode as well, which is kind of nuts because if there is in fact a new storyline happening for Fortnite OG that is similar to what we've gotten in the past, it's not crazy to say that some things may end up changing in the long run. And who knows what will happen after Season X. That is something that I've spoken about on the channel a couple of times now. Whether we'll move to Chapter 2 or continue to be on the Chapter 1 island. Regardless, I think it is pretty interesting seeing the Visitor make a return and have this whole new look. You gotta remember, the Seven died, you know? All those members that Donald Mustard was building up, very cool characters by the way, ended up all being killed off in Chapter 3, Season 4 by the Herald or Chrome. And I always thought that was really dumb. Like, how are you gonna build up these awesome, mysterious characters, especially characters that we've loved for a while, like the Visitor, just like that, like just gone? So it is nice to see the Visitor make a return in some form. Did he escape? Is this a snapshot? What is going on, and how is the Visitor here? How is he back? And how does this fit into the storyline? It looks like events are still going to play out the same. The rocket event is going to be happening soon. For those of you who don't know, all live events that have happened previously in OG Fortnite will happen again for the new OG mode. Like for Season 5, is Drift going to make a return, but it be a somewhat different character or a somewhat different version of him? But I mean, yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about the current state of the storyline for Fortnite. It's a little random and it's a little weird, but now I think things are starting to build up. And you gotta remember that a lot of people love storyline related stuff. They love lore for anything. Video games especially, hero shooters, we need some type of little bit of lore to follow alongside it. So Fortnite lore especially is something that can really keep players entertained and keep players wanting more. I have like so many questions too, like what the heck happened with Kendo, or whatever that guy was doing with Hope at the beginning of the Star Wars season in the little trailer. Where's Dill? Is he still a part of the story, or is he just shafted aside now for these newer characters? And is it canon for the Fortnite storyline that the Death Star is what caused this whole thing to happen for the brand new season? Will Fortnite characters with superpowers leave lasting consequences on the Fortnite island? And will we see these characters like Haley Sky make a return in future seasons? Personally, I would love to see the Seven come back. I mean, who wouldn't? And if we do move on to Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 and so on and so forth, we could get newer versions of popular characters that have been locked away from battle passes forever. And this could be Epic's way of giving us some of those skins that have been behind bars for a very long time now, for players who were never able to obtain them in the first place. New 7 outfits, and maybe a possible continued version of that original storyline that Donald Mustard was cooking up. OG could be the mode that actually does things right. Maybe how things were supposed to go. Instead of us losing against the Herald, we actually win. So many theories, so many storylines at this point to piece together, figure out what's canon and what's not. It's just all very interesting. But anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about the current state of the Fortnite storyline? Which one are you most excited to see? Fortnite OG and how that ends up playing out, or Fortnite Chapter 6 and everything with the Spirit Realm and Daigo? Apparently, we've also gotten hints about the Spirit Realm all the way back in Chapter 2 Season 8 with Dark Jonesy making a reference to it. That's just crazy amount of foreshadowing, and I would love to see what else was teased to us that we had just no idea about the first time around come to Chapter 6 or Chapter 7, so on and so forth. Fortnite could be cooking up, and we just gotta give them hope, we just gotta give them time, and we'll see how things play out. I think there is a bit of room for improvement as always, but I'm very excited to see what could come, and if real lore and storylines in Fortnite make a return. As always, I want to thank all of you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and use code TrulyMystic in the item shop if you would like to support me there. Now I'll catch you all in the next one. Have a wonderful day or night, and until then, it's TrulyMystic. Peace.